Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Sorry if you saw the thumbnail of me upside down. I'm trying to channel my inner Kaladin for this chapter. We're back to our read-through of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, and we're getting into the book. We're getting pretty far in here. We're up to chapter 34, entitled Stormwall. The original heading above the chapter is a quotation. I walked from Abamabar to Urithiru. And the notation below it is that this quote from a parable of the Way of Kings written by Noadon seems to contradict two other parables that say the city was inaccessible by foot. So clearly Yasna, maybe even Shalon involved in this, is trying to figure out this fabled ancient city of the Radiance named Urithiru. So, we return to Kaladin, who has been beaten senseless following the tragedy of a couple chapters earlier, where he foolishly, as far as the general battle strategy went, initiated the side carry maneuver with Bridge 4 in front of the rest of the bridge crews, and when they saw that it worked, they all tried to do it, and we find that around 200 bridgemen were killed in the failed assaults. The low, light-eyed Lamaril, who was blackmailing Gaz, was killed in response by High Prince Sadeas himself. Gaz was left there because he's a Dark Eyes, so it was believed that the Light Eyes should bear most of the responsibility here. But Kaladin wakes up from his unconscious state, and he's still not fully conscious, and finds himself hanging upside down from the storm-facing wall of Bridge 4. Outside, he is hung upside down, and he is going to be sacrificed to the storm. Bridge 4 is actually on the edge of the High Prince Sadeas' war camp, and it actually is the first building that comes from the Shattered Plains. And so there is nothing between him and the Highstorm. Syl appears to him. She says that she feels cold and is not excited. She feels terrible. She tries to make him feel better by saying that she's tripped a couple of the soldiers who beat up Kaladin, which brings a smile to his face, though his lips are all bloodied and chapped and cracked. And then Rock, Moash, and Teft come out to speak with Kaladin, and they know what's coming. And so Rock is chosen to be the spokesperson, and he thanks Kaladin for what he's done for them and promises that whatever happens, they're not going to forget him, and that they're going to keep the community of Bridge 4 going. They're going to teach any new recruits. They're going to keep having the fire and the soup, and they're going to move forward. Well, Kaladin, hanging upside down, must have been a sight. He promises, I want you to tell them, Bridge 4, that I'm going to stare this storm in the face, and when you come out after the Highstorm, I'll be here waiting for you. And Rock responds, I almost believe you. I almost believe you'll do it. And Teft hands him a mark. I think it's a clear mark. I forget exactly what the amount of it is. A full sky mark. It was done, but there's an old saying that says, carry a sphere with you into the storm, and at least you'll have a light by which to see. And so they head on back in, because they're not going to stand out there. They thought about cutting him down, but they would have been strung up right beside him. And so when they leave, and it's just Kaladin hanging there alone, Syl asks him, why did you tell them that? And he says, if I die, they'll come out, shake their heads, and tell themselves they knew it would happen. But if I live, they'll remember. They'll have hope, and they'll see it as a miracle. Syl asked him if he wants to be a miracle, and he said, no, but for them, I will be. The chapter ends with the Highstorm rushing on, And the last sentence reads, "He took a deep breath, the pain of his ribs forgotten, as the Stormwall wall crossed the lumberyard in a flash and slammed into him." So Kaladin here has faced justice as far as High Prince Sadeas is concerned. His men are heartbroken, and Syl is afraid. Kaladin, though, is facing his certain death with courage for them. And will he be able to will himself to survive? Is there something about Kaladin that is even more special than his heart and his character? We'll find out as the story continues. But thanks so much for reading along and watching the video. I hope you're enjoying our read-through. We'll come back in the next video with the next chapter, but if you're curious, you can like and subscribe to the channel. You can find the playlist for our read-through of The Way of Kings, and all the chapters and even interludes have videos associated with them. So check those out, and we'll look forward to getting back together in the next video. But until then, take care.